Welcome to Echoes of Africa, where hidden stories, bold voices, and untold truths rise from the heart of the continent. Before you dive in, hit subscribe and turn on the bell, because every echo here reveals the Africa they don't want you to see. Africa, a continent often described in terms of its history and struggles, now becoming the birthplace of a new scientific revolution. From the deserts of Namibia to the observatories of South Africa and the research hubs of Nigeria, Kenya, and Rwanda, a quiet transformation is underway. African physicists, engineers, and mathematicians are rewriting the rules of reality. They are challenging ideas once believed to belong only to the laboratories of the West or East. And this transformation, though largely hidden from the headlines, is beginning to shake the very foundations of modern physics. For decades, global science viewed Africa as a receiver of knowledge, not a creator of it. But that is no longer true. Across the continent, brilliant minds are unlocking new ways to understand energy, matter, and even the origins of the universe. One of the most ambitious projects on the continent is the Square Kilometre Array, SK, the world's largest radio telescope, stretching across South Africa and Australia. African scientists play a leading role in building and analyzing the data from this vast network of antennas. The SKA doesn't just scan the skies. It reaches back billions of years, capturing the faint whispers of the early universe. For African physicists, this isn't just about cosmology. It's about proving that frontier science can thrive on African soil. In Kenya, at the University of Nairobi, experimental physicist Dr. Tom Odhiambo Omondi and his team are developing new solar energy materials that could fundamentally change how we think about energy transmission. Their work with nanophotonics, using light at the smallest scales, is producing data that rivals some of the world's top laboratories. Across Nigeria, researchers at the University of Lagos are studying quantum information theory and developing early-stage qubit frameworks, laying the groundwork for Africa's contribution to the quantum computing race. Meanwhile, at AMS Rwanda, young physicists are working on one of the continent's most exciting theoretical pursuits, the study of emergent gravity. They re-exploring whether gravity itself is not a fundamental force, but a side effect of deeper quantum information laws. Their research, published in international physics journals, is being cited by scientists in Europe and North America. It's a reversal of history, where African ideas are now shaping global theory rather than following it. But the story of Africa's physics revolution isn't just about theory. It's about innovation and survival. As climate change reshapes the planet, African scientists are finding physics-based solutions grounded in local realities. At Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology, engineers are using thermal physics to design affordable solar cooling systems that preserve crops without fossil fuels. In Ghana, physicist Dr. Elsie Effa Kaufman has inspired a generation of science students while leading advances in materials science and medical technology. In Egypt, the Zuail City of Science and Technology, named after Nobel laureate Ahmed Zuail, pioneers femtoscience, the study of matter on the scale of 1/4,000,000th of a second, unlocking breakthroughs in quantum chemistry. All of these stories form part of a single pattern. African scientists are building a physics culture that is both uniquely African and universally transformative. They're not copying Western models, they're inventing new ones. The African Light Source, AFLS, project aims to construct the continent's first synchrotron particle accelerator, allowing researchers to study atomic and subatomic phenomena without relying on facilities abroad. It's a vision of independence and scientific infrastructure, a statement that Africa can build, power, and sustain its own frontier laboratories. Behind these breakthroughs lies a deeper philosophical shift. African physicists often approach science with a worldview rooted in interconnectedness, seeing systems not as isolated parts, but as interwoven wholes. This perspective resonates with the principles of quantum entanglement and complexity theory, where the universe itself appears to be built from relationships rather than separate objects. The African concept of Ubuntu, I am because we are, is finding echoes in physics papers about quantum coherence and unified field theories. In this way, African thought isn't just entering science. It's redefining how we think about science itself. The next revolution may come from unexpected places. In Nigeria's National Space Research and Development Agency, NASRDA, researchers are working with local universities to use gravitational mapping and satellite data to predict water movement beneath deserts. Their methods combine classical physics with data modeling, solving problems that space agencies in wealthier nations struggle to address. In Ethiopia, physicists are experimenting with plasma research to improve renewable energy storage. In Senegal, the Dakar Quantum Hub is training young scientists to understand quantum algorithms with direct applications to African tech industries. The world is taking notice. The European Organization for Nuclear Research, CERN, now collaborates with several African universities, and students from Ghana, Kenya, and South Africa contribute to experiments on the Large Hadron Collider. For the first time, African names appear on papers exploring dark matter and Higgs field dynamics. Global physics conferences that once had no African representation now open with keynote addresses by African researchers. Africa's quiet scientific ascent has begun to alter the balance of global knowledge. Yet, this rise comes with challenges. Limited funding, unreliable electricity, and scarce lab equipment still slow progress. But instead of despairing, scientists are innovating. Solar-powered labs, locally 3D printed instruments, and open-source data collaborations are turning scarcity into opportunity. Across Rwanda and South Africa, community-built high-performance computers, assembled from recycled parts, now perform calculations once reserved for million-dollar Western systems. The ingenuity born of necessity is itself reshaping the methodology of science. In many ways, this is Africa's true contribution, not just data or theories, but a new model of resilience and scientific discovery. The ability to innovate under constraints may be the skill that defines the next century of global research. As Western economies struggle with overspecialization, Africa's interdisciplinary approach, where physics meets engineering, agriculture, and philosophy, could provide the balance the world needs. The transformation is generational. Children once taught under trees are now programming quantum simulations on laptops powered by the sun. Local high school science fairs in Kenya and Tanzania are producing designs for clean energy turbines and water purification systems based on physics principles. These are not isolated sparks. They are signs of an emerging scientific ecosystem. An ecosystem built on self-belief, collaboration, and a vision of Africa as a maker of knowledge, not merely a consumer. African scientists are changing physics forever, not by imitating others, but by expanding what it means to do science. They are redefining the boundaries between theory and practice, between local and global, between past and future. The laboratories of tomorrow may well rise from the red soil of Africa, where ingenuity, courage, and necessity converge to unlock the universe's deepest mysteries. And perhaps, years from now, when textbooks describe the great revolutions of physics, the quantum leap, relativity, string theory, they will also include a new chapter, the African era of physics, where knowledge became truly global. This is not a dream. It's already happening. The equations are being written. The data are being recorded. And the world, finally, is beginning to notice. You've been watching Echoes of Africa, where every story carries the sound of tomorrow. If this moved you, subscribe now, like, and share so Africa's voice never fades into silence.